Jim, that's a result straight out of the 1980s, isn't it?
Well, listen, we're obviously delighted with the outcome. At the end of the evening, we knew how difficult a tie this was going to be. Away from home domestically is hard enough, but away from home in Europe is even harder with all of the travelling involved and the logistics of it all. Today was a really long day for the players. We're down for breakfast at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then you've got that real long wait and the anticipation building until 9 o'clock kickoff. So it's trying to keep the players active during that period, making sure they're not lying in their beds for 5-6 hours in the afternoon, trying to just make sure that they don't get lazy, really. And the backroom team deserve a huge amount of credit for that. And I thought the performance from the players was exceptional, given where we're at with the injuries. I know people will be sick of me talking about it, but there is no denying the fact that we are really light on players at the moment. We've got some key players out, and tonight that wasn't helped with the injury to Isaac Papel.
It was a really hostile atmosphere that greeted the players tonight, so how pleased were you with the way that they managed to handle that and relax in possession?
I thought that's probably the most pleasing aspect of it is, especially when you've got such a new group. We're all still getting to know each other. You don't really know the characters of the players deep down yet, but I thought I found out a lot about that group tonight. When the going got tough, when we went behind for the second time, I think it's very easy for that game to get away from us. I think it could become 3 and 4-1, but testament to the boys, lots of leaders in the group, lots of big characters, and those types of things are non-negotiables for me as a manager, but for my backroom team as well. We can accept bad performances, we can accept mistakes in games, but we'll never accept a player representing this club that's going to throw in the towel and not give everything for it. And tonight I thought we saw that in abundance from the starting 11, from all the substitutes that came on. A real collective effort, but the important thing is that we don't get too excited, we don't get carried away. It is only half time in the tie, and we've got a big job in our hands this Sunday, first and foremost, against Hearts, but a really exciting tie to look forward to next Thursday at Tannadice in front of what I would imagine will be a sellout crowd. On
nights like these, it's so important that your strikers take their chances when they come along, and both of them did that without hesitation, didn't they?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think both of them have had a brilliant start to their Dundee United careers. Max Waters has came in really late to the group. He's lacking in a little bit of fitness and a little bit of sharpness, and we're going to have to spend the next 2 or 3 weeks trying to really get him up to speed so that he can last longer than the 60-65 minutes that we're able to get out of him at the moment. The reason we need to make those changes on Sunday and tonight is because we can't afford for him to get injured through fatigue. So it's great that he's got goals in the last couple of games. Zach Sapsford, I think the supporters have really taken to him. I think everybody can see what he brings to the team in terms of his work ethic off the ball. But more importantly, he's a really, really clever player, on the ball, technically really good, retains possession for us, real willing runner to go and stretch the game, which is something I thought we lacked a lot last season. And clearly the boys got an eye for goals. So I think that's, a couple of goals and an assist now for Zach in his last 3 or 4 fixtures, which is brilliant.
How much belief do you feel this will give the group going into the return leg next week?
I thought the performance against Falkirk, given the situation, coming back from Luxembourg and all of that, what that entailed, I thought the overall performance against Falkirk was okay. I thought we learned a lot about the group on that particular day as well. But I think tonight, it was just real guts and determination that got us the positive result to take home with us. We know we're going to get better. We know that we'll improve as time goes on, but those characteristics that I've mentioned in terms of that never say die attitude, that willingness to stick together under pressure, and to come away with a brilliant result in a really hostile venue. I loved the atmosphere all night. I thought the Rapid Vienna fans were terrific, but equally I thought our own supporters were outstanding. Even in the warm-up, the players came in after the warm-up with a real buzz of excitement, and they were desperate to go and put a performance on for all of those guys who have spent a fortune to come and watch us the last couple of weeks.
How much did you enjoy the experience yourself as a manager?
Yeah, like I said, I loved it. I really did. I think it's where you want to be as a manager, competing at these kind of levels in terms of the competition, and it's been hard work to get here. You know, a lot of hard work last season, which has given us the reward to go and play on nights like tonight. It's a great experience for the group, and I think, you know, once you do experience it for that first time, it makes you even more desperate to make sure that you can go and get the opportunity to do it again next season. So, you know, I'm really pleased for the players. I'm pleased for the backroom team. It's been a real collective effort, you know, coming over here early yesterday morning. Logistically, the guys behind the scenes have done fantastic, making sure that the players just need to focus on the game. And, you know, tonight was a good performance, albeit, you know, a couple of mistakes within the goals that we conceded. We can learn from that, make sure that we don't make the same mistakes against Hearts, and you know, we can be really positive going into the game next Thursday against Vienna.
As you touched on, the way that you get into these situations is by doing well domestically. So how do you focus the players after a night like this on the Hearts game on Sunday to make sure that we come back to places like this?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I wish we had a bit more time between now and the Hearts game on Sunday. Obviously, Hearts will be a lot fresher than us, only natural that that's the case. You know, we'll have to assess the squad in the morning and see, you know, where we're at in terms of the physical outputs for tonight. But you know, we don't want to be using tiredness and fatigue as an excuse. You know, Sunday is a huge game for us. You know, we've got a good point on the board last week. We want to go make sure we build on that this Sunday, and we want to try and continue this unbeaten run that we find ourselves on in the competitive games. You mentioned it a bit earlier, but the only blemish on tonight's brilliant result was the injury to Isaac Papo. So is it too early to put a tag on what that is yet? Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't look great. Any time a player needs to go off on a stretcher, obviously you fear the worst, but I'm not going to jump the gun at this moment in time. You know, we have to get him back to Scotland tomorrow morning, organise a scan, and then we'll see what the specialists and the surgeons say about it. Hopefully it's not as bad as first feared, but it doesn't look great.